on the grind. 27-9, not to 24-7, that are not enough time. Put in overtime, me I forget mine. Never thief, nobody, me mother say feel low crime. Cause life is hard, have to work hard. The money now make if you just sit down in a yard and I cry time hard. Have to grind hard, jump in our studio, I rhyme hard.
Greetings, viewers of Unfinished Business. Welcome back to another segment. Today, I'm your host, Mr. Tarika Villes, alongside my co-host, Mr. Rashid Arzu, the man that all the way to Belmopan, and he's still lagging, so very dedicated. And today, we have an international guest, Miss Kimberly Baldwin, all the way out of New York from BeInTheKnow Realty. Miss Kimberly, give the Punta Punta Gerda and the viewers of Unfinished Business brief synopsis of yourself, no?
So I am Kimberly Baldwin. I am family to Yadlit, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know that guy over there.
Yes,
I live in New York and I own a real estate business out here in New York. My husband, Kareem, which is Jalil's cousin, he's in the mortgage industry, and it's just grinding as much as I can, being a wife, being a mother to a 7-month-old KBJ over here, and trying to just manage a little bit of everything, giving back to our community, representing Black people as much as I can every day, and just trying to do as much as I can for my family and my community, the people that I do business with.
Definitely, Miss Kimberly. And with that said, I have to say pleasant good morning to KBJ. What's up, Kareem? You good? You good? Good boy.
What's up, little Kareem? You good?
Good boy. Yes, man. And definitely, please give Kareem my regards. I've met you guys the last time you were here in Punta Gerda.
Yes.
And you guys are awesome people, and I'm sure that the world of business will definitely be favorable to you, because that's just how the world goes. Good people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely energy in, energy out, for sure.
Definitely. So, Miss Kimberly, where did you grow up, and give us a little bit more about your background, your past, like how you came to being into entrepreneurship.
So I grew up in Long Island, which is a little island off of New York. So similar to how you have like San Pedro is just off of the main country.
Yeah.
That's how New York has Long Island. So I grew up in Long Island, so it's like the burbs.
Definitely. You're island girl.
And I went to, Catholic school. I did all of that. I actually started in real estate when I was like 16, 17, just like showing people houses, things that were around my neighborhood, because I was just looking for a job. Yeah. And that was just like something hourly. But then I went to college for education for 4 years and in the city, in New York City. And I did that for a while, actually. I was a teacher for about 4.5 years in the Bronx, which is like part of the city, but a little bit more north of Manhattan. And it was all good and dandy, but I just couldn't do enough. I was spending about 4 hours in the car, commuting back and forth every day. It was a lot. So in order to kind of tap back into my real estate roots, Kareem was still doing his real estate thing in the mortgage business. It just kind of brought me back full circle. I got my license in real estate, just started working as an agent. And then after working for other people for a while, I was like, this ain't it. And I ended up, using my experience, using my actual credits from being an educator, using all of that to catapult me into being an owner and actually becoming my own broker, because I already had that experience from other things that I've done in my life that I could now use to become an owner for real estate. So that's what I ended up doing. And BeInTheKnow Realty has been fully open for 2 years now. And I love it. I love it every day. I do my BeInTheKnow Wednesday videos. Now that I'm a mom, KBJ shows up with me. I think people look out for him more than me now, but it's all good. I get it.
New blood, man. Well, we hope that KBJ...
Well, I wanted to ask...
Go right ahead, Skyler.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Mr.
Go right ahead, my brother.
My question would be, because you mentioned that you started off in real estate, you did that for some time, you were looking for a job, so you did that to kind of get your foot into the door. Then you decided to go and get your education, to see what else was out there, to broaden your horizons, and then you decided that, you know what, this is not it. I'm seeing where this is going. I don't like it. I want to change my stars or to chart my own path. So I wanted to ask, what was that transition like, going from, you know what, I'm in the system working for these guys, making them money, uplifting them, and now I would like to go and uplift myself, you know, mentally, financially, and all that. What was that transition like, and what, you know, what was it like?
So that transition, I would say, is probably one of the hardest, because different from going from, like, say, you know, elementary school to high school to a job to, you know, even a career, you're still at the guidance, and you're still at the schedule, and you're still at the idea and the demand of some other institution, right? So even when I went to college, yes, you're saying I have the freedom of choosing what I want to do and what courses, and, you know, I'm going to use my college time to, you know, figure out what's going to happen. I'm becoming my own person. But in the sense, you still have to go to classes on time. When you go to those classes, somebody else is telling you, these are the things that you need to learn, and I'm giving you all the information. So you still have some sort of dependence on something, someone else. When you transition into becoming an owner and, you know, leaving my job, resigning from being a teacher, you know, even saying, I'm not even going to do real estate full time. I'm going to now do my own business, my own entity, my own institution. All of that timing, scheduling, what people are going to hear, what people are going to learn, what people find is important. And then the other side of things, like making sure I have the right legal information and keeping all those things together, that stuff now is 100% coming from me. Yeah. So that's the hardest part of, you think you can kind of get everything together, but then when you kind of no longer have to answer to anybody else, you really have to figure that out yourself. So it is a learning curve, because it's easy to just want to be like, all right, I'm just going to chill all day because I don't have to answer to anybody else. But you have other people that you have to depend on, and that depend on you. So you really have to show up every day.
Definitely. Yeah. And I like to interject on that point to see, when you're an entrepreneur, you always have to put your best foot forward, because your next job depends on you. It's what your last job is, what your last recommendation states.
Right.
So, Miss Kimberly, speak to us about how it is in entrepreneurship as a mother. I'm sure that KVJ is a very bright spot in your life, but
yes.
how does it help to, or how does it affect your ability to help the people and to do what you love to do?
Yeah. So one of the things that is affected the most is the schedule. Because it's no longer about me. And I feel like everybody around me said that as soon as he was born. Well, Kimberly, it's no longer about you, it's about the baby. But it's absolutely true, because if he's not in the right mind, if he's not good, if he's not, you know, if he's crying, if he's in discomfort, I have to do whatever I can in my power to make sure he's okay. And this is almost like a direct correlation into independence versus dependent, because he's dependent on me.
Yeah.
And if I don't show up that day and I feel like I'm just going to chill in bed, he's going to be directly affected by that. And it's the same in business. So waking up for him, it's great. It's fantastic. I can't control what he does.
Yeah.
All I can do is aid him as much as I can to make sure he's good. And then he'll show up for me.
Definitely. They say kids make it easier for us to strive, no? So, Ms. Kimberly, earlier you mentioned about the licenses and the many licensing that you needed to procure before you could have operated legally. What are those licenses, and can you specify the costs to a certain extent, as much as you possibly can, to us?
Yeah, absolutely. So for your licensing for real estate in New York, right? Because each state is a little bit different. Sorry.
Kimberly wanna have this moment at the table.
State is different. In New York, you have to take a course it's 75 hours to be able to study, take the information, and actually learn real estate law. That course I've found is only about $100, so it's not too much. So $100 US, which is $200 Belize. Once you take that course, you do have to take an exam to actually pass to make sure that you understand the information that you take. That cost, I think it's $15 US, so $30 Belize. So really not expensive, right? So that's $115 so far, in 75 hours. After all that is done, then you have to get associated with a broker, which is where I would come in. I could take, any licensee, you pass your exam, great, I'm gonna sponsor you, which is like taking you under my wing. You can work for our company. That's a cost of $55 to get associated. Now, the biggest cost comes into once you are associated. You see this sign right here?
Yeah.
So this sign indicates that our company is associated with a larger database, which allows me to get access for properties all over New York, and even outside of New York to a certain extent. The cost of this database and being connected to this association, which allows me to use the word realtor, that cost is like $700.
Wow.
So that's the highest cost, but it's paying dues essentially.
Okay.
It's saying, okay, I'm a part of a larger association. These are the resources that we have provided. It's kind of almost mandatory essentially to be able to do what we do. We kind of need those resources.
Yeah.
So in order to kind of get everything else together, it's really not that expensive. It becomes expensive when, again, you now have to depend on somebody else to kind of get more information, and that's where that larger cost comes in.
Yeah. My question was, earlier you mentioned about what it takes to work for yourself, secure that income, and as well as being a mom, and about the show, and how, KGB is your co-host and all of that.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing a couple of videos on that through Yadlit's page, BeInTheKnow. He was always posting that up and just sharing information and just talking about mortgages and how the freedom coming from that if you understand what you're doing. So I kind of wanted for you to give me some more insight on how the show came about and some of the goals and some of the things you guys tackle while giving that information out. I just kind of wanted some more information because being
So Be in the Know and In the Know Wednesdays was an idea that I had when I first got my real estate license. I wanted to set myself apart a little bit, and I wanted to give out tips and information and just kind of give my community a way to know that I am doing real estate and here are the things that I'm learning, so that when you learn something from a textbook or just from law, it's different than when it actually happens in practice. And that's the information that I wanted to share with people. So before I had In the Know Realty, I knew In the Know Realty was a goal of mine. And I knew that word in the know was going to be part of that goal. So in order to kind of tie those words and that phrase to me and my business from the beginning, I came up with In the Know Wednesdays. And then when Jaleel came through and he was doing the mortgage end and, social media is so big and popular, we decided you would be a good asset to give the mortgage information because it's also a very important part of what we do, but it's not what I do. So it was a good way for him to show and share information on the money end as I shared information on the actual real estate end and the ownership end and the property side of things.
Definitely, Ms. Kimberly. We would like to take a pause and go for a quick break, but we'll be right back after these messages. Please don't go nowhere because with Kimberly Baldwin and KBJ and Skylar Young and Mr. Tariq Abres will be right here at Unfinished Business waiting for you guys on the other end.
Stay on the grind, 27-9, not 24-7, that are not enough time. Put in overtime, me I forget mine. Never thief, nobody, me mother say feel no crime. Cause life is hard, have to work hard. The money now make if you just sit down in a yard and I cry time hard. Have to grind hard, jump in our studio, I rhyme hard.
Sword on my back.
And we're back, viewers of Unfinished Business. Welcome to Bapplay Studios. We're here, Mr. Rashid Arzu, aka Skylar Young, Miss Kimberly Baldwin and KBJ with BeInTheKnow Realtor. And we're back at Unfinished Business. So we were just touching base on In the Know, and I'd like to ask, what services do you guys provide at In the Know Realtor?
So for In the Know Realty, we provide services for people who are looking to buy properties and homes, right? People who are looking to sell their home or property. And ideally, we are here to help agents, people who have their license or want to get their license, to be able to actually practice real estate in the way that it is intended to be practiced. So those are the main services that we provide. In terms of helping buyers, which is kind of how I started out, it's giving them the financial access. So, connecting them with Kareem, understanding, the actual money side of it, the value of what are you able to afford, what's your purchase power, how can I actually get, ownership? How can I get into ownership?
Yeah, that's
the ultimate goal is ownership, even if it's at the level of just owning a house, because there are benefits that an owner can get that somebody who isn't an owner doesn't have. Being able to sell the property, getting income and money from selling a property, renting it out to friends or family, getting income from that. Giving it to the next generation, right? So the house we have now easily can be left to KBJ when he's ready to get a house, or if we decide we want to move. So gifting that to him, giving that to him. There's so many benefits that are out there that when you aren't in it, and maybe if you're not thinking of those things, you can't really miss it. When you don't really know what you don't have. But kind of seeing the other side of it, and which I think is one of the biggest benefits of being in real estate, is seeing, it actually is a possibility, and seeing people get into ownership and the pride that gives them every single day. Seeing the other side of the people who don't believe that they can actually do it, it pushes us even more to try to reach those people so they can see the things that are still out there in life that they can enjoy, and they don't have to be at the mercy of somebody else in order to get the things that they need. So that's our biggest thing, is working with buyers, people who want to sell, and then the people who want to aid our community in getting those options and kind of fulfilling those goals.
Definitely. And you see the huge advantage that you guys have over there in America is that you are compensated for a percentage of your equity. So it's always a wise investment to make, because even if you falter, must say 8 years out of the 10-year loan, you will still have a huge amount of dinero in that equity that you can use to bounce off of. Here in Belize,
Right.
if you falter on your ninth year for a 10-year term, your house is gonna be foreclosed and you have no equity. I don't agree with it, but it's the way how the banking system is set up. And there's so many other things that I would like for us to touch on too. The bank, as it relates to the banking, because I'm sure that you guys would love to do business like here in Belize, but explain some of the challenges, because I've been hearing about all the double fees that people have to pay to get money from America to Belize and to get it back to America. Like, what are the hindrances that our system, that you may have came across, that our system presented whenever you would have liked to delve into business this side?
So how I'm gonna answer that is, the biggest thing that I see when I go to Belize versus what I see here in the States is that the value in actually what's around you. So what I mean by that is, we have that same situation here in America.
Yeah.
If you can't pay your mortgage, you're going to lose the house.
Definitely.
It doesn't matter when it happens. It doesn't matter how expensive the house is. It doesn't matter where the house is. That's just part of the process. That's part of ownership, is that if you can't keep it up, you're going to lose it.
Definitely.
That's it. Point blank, period. So the whole equity aspect, even if somebody sells, there's a thing called a short sale where they could have bought their house for more than what the house is worth, but they still can't manage it. So they have to sell it. They're not getting any money from it. They're essentially losing the house, but it's one step before it gets foreclosed on. That's one thing that they can do, but they're not making any money from that. So what I would say is, instead of thinking of the US to Belize, Belize to US, is here in the United States, if you have the opportunity to be here, then you're going to learn the rules and the game on how it's played here.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more, you really have to be on your toes here, right? It's a little bit more, not cutthroat. I guess a little bit more cutthroat here. But if you can get the opportunity to own out here, great, own out here, use that equity, use those options for you. Fantastic. That's a great step. But I'm also going to say, if you have the ability to own in Belize, go for it, do it, build on that land, build those trees, build that farm, do those things, because the people in the US are looking at Belize like, oh, look at all of this untapered land. Look at all of this land that nobody is utilizing to its potential. So I'm going to take my money here and go down there and just go buy it up. And then I'll, that's it. Now it's just mine. And then now the people in Belize can't even afford to live in their own towns because somebody else has now come in and taken it, bought it. Like I was saying, the cost of taking the course is $99 here, which, it's not cheap, but it's not expensive at all, to say the least. Yes,
reasonable.
Very reasonable. But if you were to say, okay, that's $200 Belize, that may give you a different air or a different aspect. Okay, like maybe I won't do it. But somebody here, they'd be like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm going to go for it. And if that's only $200 there, for me, it's $99. I'm going to take it because it's something that I can do. Yeah. So what I would say, the biggest fault it would be is really see what you guys have. And really, really hone in on the potential of the land and the property and the impact of the real estate that you have there, because you live in essentially a tropical oasis, which is what the people in America yearn for, right? At the beginning of this, we were saying how, it's Christmas time there. It's a little bit chilly, But I would say, hey, let's go to the beach. Like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to, take full advantage.
Nice.
of my area, as opposed to here, I'm looking out my window. It's literally, it's gray outside. It is gray outside. There is not a hint of sun. It's raining, it's windy, and it's muddy. It's going to be like this all day. But if I could have something that was beautiful, I would do whatever it takes to get that, as opposed to when you live in something that's beautiful, maybe you don't see that all the time. You don't see the value, but you should. You 100% should take advantage of the land, gather whatever monies you can to, grab up whatever land and properties you guys can, and really cultivate and love Belize and what it can offer you as much as possible. And if you can come to the Americas, do that here too, definitely. But wherever you are, try to own a piece of it.
Definitely.
So that somebody else doesn't own it from you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Skylar,
I like
you have
it.
anything to say? Go right ahead.
Oh, of course I do.
Go right ahead, my brother.
Earlier you mentioned about the learning curve again while transitioning from teaching to real estate. And Mr. Tariq gave a good point when he asked about the banking system and learning about mortgages and all of that. And I wanted to know or ask the importance of financial literacy while dealing with banks, mortgages, and real estate, because I've come to learn that the more financially literate you are, the more options you have. You're given that freedom to move about and to move around your assets and to just give yourself more options and to not be caught in the proverbial rat race. So I want your take on that.
Financial literacy and financial freedom, essentially, like, let's break down that term, right? So financial literacy, to be literate means to just understand, right? I understand whatever it is, right? To be literate in reading, writing, whatever. I understand what I'm reading. So being financial literate is being, I understand what my finances can do and what they are. So for a lot of people, numbers are very scary. I actually taught math when I was teaching, and to see the students and see their questions and how they understand the numbers and how they understand math, it seemed like a very intangible thing that they can't really grasp what was going on. And me as an adult, when I was in their shoes, I didn't really understand it too much myself. I was good at it, but it's whatever. I can do it, add it, subtract it, multiply it, whatever. I can make, I can get that done. But only in my adult life and going back and reflecting on it and, teaching it to somebody else, that showed me, hey, it actually isn't as hard as what it seems. You just have to kind of get out of your own way and break it down to a way that really the way that you understand it. And when it comes to financial literacy in terms of real estate and mortgages, there's so much information out there, and there's so much that you actually can know, that's why we really harp on and stress on for our community is speak to a professional, somebody who took the training, somebody who took the courses to understand all of those options. Speak to that person, because that's their job to share that information with you. And if they are telling you certain things, ask questions. Maybe they say a term you don't understand. You can ask them what that term means and, what your options are. And you can also take the information that they're giving you and go now to the web and look up that information that they're giving you. Because if you just go to the web and you go to the internet, you just search mortgages, do you realize how much information is going to pop up? It's still not going to make any sense,
Exactly.
So if you kind of, take the phrase working smarter than harder is being able to understand that I can take this information that somebody else has already cultivated and took time to understand, use that to now kind of find the loopholes and the gateways and saying, okay, I don't need to know about all of these terms, but this professional just mentioned, doing FHA or, doing this or doing that. Let me try to understand those things a little bit further, because if they're saying that for a reason. So let me try to now understand that a little bit more, do my own research so I understand. And now that's how you're building your financial literacy, because you're taking it into context, because you've already spoken to somebody who already knows all of it. So now let me kind of put it into play and put it into practice. And then that's how it becomes, and it makes more sense. But at the basis of everything, you have money coming in, money coming out, right? That's the essential thing. You have money coming in, money coming out. If there's ways of me to eliminate or decrease the money that's going out, great. If there's a way of getting money coming in that I'm doing, that I can, give money to somebody else and they can help get me some money coming in, that's even better too. So that's the basis of things. But I always say is, talk to somebody who knows, get that information, do the research on your own after the fact, but don't freak yourself out with the numbers. We know high is good, losing money is bad. Essentially.
That's universal. That's one thing that's universal.
Yeah, right?
But it's so unfortunate, man. Miss Kimberly, we enjoy this conversation, but it's Zoom, so we only have a 40-minute segment, and we're running out of time, so we're going to have you and KBJ go and enjoy the rest of your day. But before you leave, any parting words that you'd like to leave with us?
Yeah, I'm going to say keep doing what you're doing. Like, I always like to tell people, do your thing, whatever that is, whatever makes you feel good. And then for us too, I'm always about my community. I'm always about family. I'm about, just Black people continuing to rise up, continuing to just really, really, really focus in and hone in on our power and what we can do. And, keep doing that, keep loving Belize, keep, growing it, and try to build up the people who are around you and the kids that are around you so that they can get better, and just, do what's necessary. But I'm loving the program. Keep going. These are for this, right? The programs like this and the times that we spend are for the little ones like this. So
they make it easy for us
it's
to
important.
Get up and strive. Definitely.
Yeah, it's very important. It's very important.
Definitely. Well, once again, I'd like to thank you, and please give Karima our regards, man.
Absolutely.
We miss you guys, and you guys need to come back to Belize. Definitely.
Yeah, man, I'm ready. Listen, I'm on the first flight out. Let me know.
Right.
Okay, so viewers of Unfinished Business, that's it for today. We'd like to thank Miss Kimberly Baldwin for gracing us with her presence. My brother Rashid Arzu, thanks for making it today, and you did an awesome job. And we'll see you guys.
Thank you for the good questions, and thank you for everything.
Definitely,
Absolutely.
my brother. We'll see you guys on the other segment. This is Unfinished Business from Bapplay Studios, and I'm your host Tarika Velez, and we're gone.
All right.
Stay on the grind, 27/9, not 24/7. That not enough time. Put in overtime. Me I forget mine. Never thief nobody. Me mother say feel low crime. Cause life is hard. Have to work hard. The money now make it to just sit down in a yard and I cry time hard. Have to grind hard. Jump in our studio. I rhyme hard.